Don't think that you can add 1 ounce of power to the gospel by the way you look. Because let me put it like this, there's a whole bunch of pastors that never cared about sneakers until it became a thing.
It feels like, and again, pushback.
Yeah.
It feels like we coddle the weaker brothers.
There's a lot of tattoos of people sign and they regret it after they accept Christ.
Ruslan.
But I do want to ask you some liberty questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's go.
You have tattoos, I have tattoos. I will probably get more tattoos as a Christian, really, because I just want to fill up my my sleeve. It's like, don't draw your first tattoo yourself.
You're right.
So where are you at with like tattoos and stuff now? Are you going to get more?
I
know you were joking earlier
I don't
about
think
it.
I've ever done a video on tattoos, but it's a weird thing because if I could go back in time, I would have never got them. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So ultimately, I do believe it's a liberty issue, but I think that the motive behind it oftentimes is something in most people, they don't have the wisdom to make a good choice. Now, for me, I was a touring rock artist. I'm not saying I was good, but that was a long season of my life.
Yeah.
And so I was accumulating tattoos while I was on tour and all that. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, it helps me. There's a lot, there's times where I'm evangelizing in the streets, I'm wearing a short sleeve, and people don't perceive me as a pastor type guy, and it's disarming. So there's an element of advantage.
There's a benefit to it.
Not saying that I would ever tell somebody get tattoos so that you can evangelize with them, but I will say the reason why ultimately I would have never gotten them is because now that God's given me a global platform, I honestly get more hate.
It's more
for
of a
having
hindrance
them.
now.
Oh, to the point where like right now I'm wearing long sleeve, and it's like if you key into like my sermons when I'm preaching at V1 Church or when I'm on my YouTube channel, I almost exclusively wear long sleeves because of the amount of hate that I get for having them.
But do you think that some of that hate is a bit unnecessary and cultural?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But again, it goes back to that liberties conversation. If it causes your brother to stumble, don't, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like, here's where I came with it. I would rather reach more, this is a personal conviction. I'd rather reach more people without the tattoos being the reason why they block me.
Sure.
And not have tattoos. But, because I feel like I had one guy tell me, this is a story. I went to go preach at a funeral. Actually, it was a young girl. She overdosed on heroin, and her entire friend group were actually like black metal Satanist types. And I had to wear a suit, and I have a sleeve of tattoos. And I remember telling one of my mentors, I wish that I could show up in a short sleeve and show all these black metal fans, look, I know I'm a pastor, but I have a sleeve of tattoos. And he clapped back so hard. And he said, don't think that you can add 1 ounce of power to the gospel by the way you look.
It's good.
And he was just like, your appearance is never going to increase the power of the cross.
Yeah, no. I think that's
so
good,
so that was for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think, now let me give you another extreme example, because like this is helping me get this off my chest. I remember ministering a lot in Eastern Europe and hearing from people this thought, and I don't know how it spread, but specifically in Ukraine, because I used to minister multiple times a year in Ukraine, and I would hear from a lot of Christians that they believed, this was in Western Ukraine, that as soon as the needle goes into your skin, it opens up a hole for demons to get in. And so that I must be demonized because now I have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I have tattoos. So I think there's an extreme, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I ultimately, the scripture in the Old Testament it's ritualistic cutting for the dead. That is not the same as a machine needle that's moving hundreds of times a minute to produce, like put ink in that layer of your skin.
Yeah.
It's incomparable. It's incompatible. You can't. There is no. But I would say it's a wisdom issue.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is fine. I think sometimes with the tattoos thing, with me having a can of liquid death, this is what it feels like. It feels like, and again, pushback.
Yeah.
It feels like we coddle the weaker brother.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Bud, like get over yourself. Like my liquid death, or me having a tattoo, or me hearing a secular song at a wedding and dancing is not opening up the portal to demons.
Right.
And if you think it is, I'm okay with you never watching my channel ever again.
Right.
If you can't watch without like you're carnal, you're lukewarm, just don't watch. This isn't for you. But I'm not gonna coddle people because they think that I opened the door to demons because I'm drinking a liquid death, or because I said, yeah, if I was at a wedding and In the Club came on, I would keep on dancing. If Bad Bunny came on, I wouldn't even know it was Bad Bunny, and I might keep on dancing. I think you said in a stream earlier, you said in a ritualistic fashion, right?
Yeah.
Like the language of like ritualistic fashion, I think to me draws the line between like when something is problematic and when something is, hey, I didn't really know, or this is a misstep.
Yeah.
Man, maybe I shouldn't have danced to that song, right? So what do you think about just the concept of like, man, are we coddling weaker brothers?
I think we're disconnected from discipleship, and it shows. Because if I was discipling you and you're like, I want to get more tattoos, I'd be like, Ruslan, what do you want to get? And if you're like, well, my best friend died and I want to get his name and I want to memorialize him, I would ask you, is that helping you get through the grieving process, or is it making the grieving process permanent? Like, in other words, are you going to be reminded every time you see that for the rest of your life, and you're trapped, you're stuck in that season? Because at that point, it actually goes. Now it is. Or let me put it like this: in my younger years, I'll be honest with you, man. Some of the tattoos I got, it was a flex. I wanted to be. It was tough. It was. Now I'm old enough to where there were not cool tattoos. It was like people in bands and people who went to jail. You know what I mean? So it was like it wasn't
as artistic.
Like even the ones I've got now. If you've seen them, you were like, I could tell. You know, like I got a lot of them in basements. But my point is, there's an element of pride. So if somebody would have confronted me and said, why do you want to get that? And I think deep down, now, I think, would it have been possible for me to still get it, but somebody discipled me out of that pride, where the tattoo's there, but the effect is gone. And so I think that's what we're both saying. There's got to be a level of wisdom, and we've got to be connected to discipleship to say, why do you want to do that? And what are you about to do? I'll put it like this. There's a lot of tattoos of people sign, and they regret it after they accept Christ. There's a lot of tattoos connected to the new age, connected to all kinds of crazy things. And we've got to be connected to discipleship so we don't make stupid choices.
Yeah, 100%. And I think not everyone is going to be as thoughtful to think through what they're going to get, why they're going to get it, what's the message, right? A lot of folks get tattoos off of impulse.
Yeah.
And that's not good either. I think in my case, I got all my tattoos, decade plus after walking with Jesus, thought about them, designed some of them, which from an aesthetic standpoint, I wish I didn't design them myself,
Same.
And so I think there's a specific thing of like, why would somebody want tattoos? Like, well, why would I want to wear a pair of Jordans? Why would I want to wear a nice hoodie, right? It's an extension of the things you might value in the moment. And if they're not from reasons of, I'm just going to flex, or I'm going to make a stupid impulsive decision and not think about it, and then in the long term, I think there's a time and a place. And I guess what you say about discipleship, I think, is key, because if somebody's actually being discipled, that means they're actually concerned with their own sanctification process. That means they don't have time to be consumed with anyone else's sanctification process, right? Like,
well, but that, you're saying it because this is what annoys me. You go online and people post about how getting tattoos is exclusively demonic. Then on the other side, well, we have the liberty to do it. But what I don't hear anybody saying is the third way, which is discipleship. And here's my point. I think the gospel is the third way.
Come on.
So human nature is fight or flight. The gospel is the third way. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to run away, but I'm going to redeem. And so I feel like for me, the real question is, we live in these binary worlds where it's like, okay, Ruslan's wrong, Ruslan's right. But to me, discipleship is when you say, well, let's look at the actual thing. Let's talk about it, because you could get a tattoo, I get a tattoo, and we got matching tattoos, but my reason's different than your reason. And there's a lot of sin connected to mine and maybe significantly less to yours.
Would you extend this exact thought to fashion and clothes? Yeah,
I think so. Because let me put it like this. There's a whole bunch of pastors that never cared about sneakers until it became a thing, to now flex your sneakers. And I knew a whole bunch of dudes who jumped on that, and it was like, okay, I get it. Now that's your starter pack. And so, but then I also know guys.
That's your starter pack to cool.
Yeah, like this is your church planner, starter pack. This is your
hipster
millennial
pastor
starter pack or whatever. And you never cared about sneakers, but you care about people who care about sneakers. And so for one person, they're wearing a pair of sneakers, and it's like, no, I authentically,
this is who I am.
This is who I am. There's somebody else that it's like, I'm wearing these because I hope you care about it and I have more value. And so now it's the battle of egos.
Yes, that's great. Guys, we're going to start wrapping up soon. Make sure you smash this like button. Make sure you're subscribed here on this channel. This is the Blessed God Studios channel. Make sure you're subscribed to Pastor Mike's channel. But I have a question for you, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Okay, so did you see the Kurt Franklin controversy?
I did.
Okay.
And it said that Simeon blessed God.